Coming up on America Gone Psycho, caught on tape, a knife-wielding Mexican, because that's what they do. We should send them all back so they can knife each other up on their own planet, because they're aliens, illegal aliens. They're taking over with machines of mind control that emanate vapors with bacon-wrapped hot dogs. Resistance is futile. You saw it first, caught on tape with America Gone Psycho.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
For the record, the guy in the video was one of my top students and a good friend. I know for the left that's hard to accept because they want to believe that we conservatives just hate them foreigners. Yes, the left-wingers would like for people to believe that we right-wingers are a bunch of immigrant-hating bigots that want to take the SA out of the USA. Nope. Our contention has pretty much always been to secure the border, so having to deport people wouldn't be a big problem to have to deal with in the first place. Also, our contention has been to stop granting them things that attract them and rewarding them for stuff for coming over illegally. And again, I'll remind you, that's not cruel. You liberals think a country is better off with bigger and bigger government, right? Well, that's what they have in places like Mexico and Cuba. So if we take away the goodies and they all had to go back, well, then they should be just fine. But no, as I've said for many years, why should they have to go back when they've got Democrats here using them to make our government and country just like the one they just ran from? But the government is not going to send them back because the government is an accomplice in businesses harboring people engaging in criminal activity. But the government doesn't press to find the businesses. They just collect taxes from the persons who are living and working here illegally. Liberals say they should pay back taxes, which of course is just posturing to make themselves sound and look like they've got an adult plan of action. Illegal immigrants are already paying taxes. Proof positive, as I've said, do you really think that the government, who does everything they can to force their way into the people's pocket, would allow the millions of people we still have here illegally to live here if they weren't making any money off them? I know you liberals are always rhetorically asking, well, what's your solution to the undocumented immigrants? Deport them? And with that question, they try to promote Republicans as racists who don't like anybody who speaks Spanish. To which I ask, why are you asking us what to do about them? Why don't you ask the people who are waiting to come into the country legally that we're cut in front of? You liberals always talk about fairness, yet you totally support people being unfair. And cutting in line is totally unfair, and it's leading to less freedom in the process. You liberals keep trying to make this about hate. I totally reject that. I don't hate anybody, least of all Hispanics. My martial arts instructor, as well as my life mentor, is Mexican. I started with him when I was a long-haired hippie. I lost my job, and I told him I couldn't afford the lessons. He let me work off my tuition. It started with keeping the school clean. Then he entrusted me with the bookkeeping. From there, I became an assistant instructor. He's a doctor of chiropractic and would conduct lessons at his office on anatomy and physiology. I watched him treat the poor for free or for what they could afford. Not only was I the assistant instructor at his school, I was also his assistant instructor and fill-in instructor at the community college. Eventually, he gave his school over to me and made me the chief instructor. I trained with him for almost 6 years before I ever found out that he was a Republican. A note for you liberals who say that Republicans don't do anything for anybody, especially if they're a different ethnicity than you. When I started, he looked at this long-haired agnostic hippie and said, first, all your martial arts training will be nothing without Christ. And then he told me I will sit at the table with men of great political and business stature. My classmates were Mexican, but I saw them and respected them as my classmates, not just as Mexicans I shared a classroom with. Oh yeah, and while I was training with him, my girlfriend for about 6 years happened to be Mexican too.
Flying white shoot!
I was just trying to make a point, baby. So, can we knock it off with all the bulldog that we're just a bunch of bigoted immigrant haters? Hate has nothing to do with it. It's illegal immigration we have a problem with, not immigrants or Americans of different ethnicities. I know that Obama believes he made a groundbreaking statement by saying that the Native Americans are the real Americans and everybody else is an immigrant. But it's that same patronizing language that has helped keep those Indians tolerating the reservations they stew in. And the big question is, how do Republicans connect with the Hispanic community? I've already told you, you will not connect with the Black or Latino community until you take the racist stigma off you and put it back on the Democrat Party where it belongs. Right now, the liberals are trying to say things like Republicans want to take America back to the days of Jim Crow. And I don't think I've heard one Republican in office say, oh, you mean the Jim Crow laws that were imposed by Democrats and named after the Jim Crow character created by the Democrat Thomas Rice? Democrats were the ones who imposed Jim Crow. Now they recognize the law they made is evil just so they can use it to infuriate the Hispanic community against Republicans. And if you want more of my perspective on illegal immigration, grab my audiobook, Weapon of Mass Destruction, available at my website, alfonsorachel.com. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and we're a melting pot up in here for real, even though liberals would like you to believe that that's just impossible for us. Caught on tape with America Gone Psycho.